Imagine a sweltering afternoon in New Delhi, where the air hangs heavy, with the scent of jasmine and exhaust fumes. But in that secluded room, everything seems to pause. Ibrahim Traoré, the young man from the dusty streets of Ouagadougou, now sit across from Narendra Modi, the prime minister of a colossal nation. Camera flashes erupt like falling stars, illuminating his face. A subtle smile, eyes sharp as a blade forged from history. Diplomats murmur behind silk curtains. Quill pens glide over polished mahogany, and I feel my heartbeat, syncing with the distant drums of home. This is no mere ritual. It's the moment when invisible chains, the steel cables of debt and Western handouts, begin to crack, groaning like dry branches. Under an elephant's foot, $15 billion, the figure echoes through the hall, like thunder rolling across the Sahel desert. The world's press screams it, headlines dancing on screens. India and Burkina Faso, the alliance of the century. But brothers and sisters, this is no pity from white overlords, perched in ivory towers. No loans wrapped in tissue paper, laced with the venom of interest and subservience. No, this is a marriage of warriors. Our oil traded for their technological scythes, raw energy for modern forges, sovereignty for true respect. They mocked me once. Too young to lead, too reckless to negotiate, too bold to trust. But in that instant, I wasn't alone. On my shoulders rested the shadow of the old farmer in Kaya, hands calloused from watering cracked fields, under a scorching sun, the ghost of the miner in Bobo-Dioulasso, fingers bloody digging under foreign flags. Hope as fragile as sand, the flicker of a candle, beside a tattered book, for the village boy, dreaming of electric lights, piercing the night. I didn't sign for myself, I signed for them, for the souls wandering history's shadows. And as the ink dried, I heard the tremor from afar. Paris clenches its fist. Washington flips secret files. Beijing arches a brow. They don't fear our weakness. They fear our awakening. Picture Burkina Faso as an aging lion, coiled on Africa's savanna, picked apart by Western vultures. Too small to matter, too divided to rise. But that day, under the blinding flashes, the lion stretched its limbs and roared, a sound reverberating across the continent. We don't beg, we bargain. We don't kneel, we rise. Our mane quivering in the desert wind. Why India? Why now? Brothers and sisters, this isn't just crude oil barrels, rolling eastward on massive tankers, glistening black under the sun. It's the foundation for a new century, where Burkina Faso, land the world forgot, becomes a buried treasure. Beneath our red dust lie oil, gold, uranium, gems others dreamed of mining, on their terms, at rock-bottom prices, and with crocodile smiles. But we hold the key. India doesn't toss us table scraps. They bring colossal steel mills, where fire erupts like the earth's heartbeat, petrochemical plants rising like ancient baobab trees, turning black gas into living plastic, power grids spreading like veins, carrying life's pulse to dying villages. They don't teach us to fish. They build us nets, boats, and markets, where we sell our own catch. For every drop of oil flowing east, a stream of technology, investment, and knowledge surges west. This is what the West never grasped. They sent aid not from love, but because aid is the leash, tethering the hound to its master. They loaned billions, knowing we'd repay in trillions. Interest, concessions, resources looted at bargain rates. But this alliance shatters that cycle. We're not trading frailty for strength. We're linking equals. India gains energy for its roaring economy. Burkina Faso gains modernization for its youth. Boys and girls with eyes bright as stars, ready to conquer worlds. And the world learns, we're done with dependency. This isn't just an oil deal. It's a vision of power. Power illuminating thatched homes. Power hammered in roaring factories. Power coursing through the veins of a people finally standing tall, heads held high. Now, let's speak plainly. Like a sword slicing through rumor fog, what does this pact hold? $4 billion for oil extraction and refining. Not mere crude exporters anymore, but climbing to value-added peaks, where black gold turns to gleaming fuel. $5 billion for petrochemicals and energy infrastructure. Pipelines snaking like desert serpents. Colossal storage caverns like God's lairs. Processing plants thundering to feed India. And our own workshops. $3 billion for steel and manufacturing. Factories sprouting from Mother Earth, where furnace flames devour iron ore and spit out rails, machines, buildings, and thousands of jobs for the young. Skilled hands turning raw metal into tomorrow's dreams. $2 billion for defense technology, because sovereignty without security is an empty wind whisper. Rifles assembled in Ouagadougou under the full moon, armored vehicles rumbling from Bobo-Dioulasso, with a lion's growl, communication systems designed by our own youth, fingers dancing on keyboards, like on a kora harp, and $1 billion for agriculture, telecom, training, because strength's bedrock isn't just machines, but minds forged under desert suns, fields greened by modern plows. These aren't gifts or chained loans. They're foreign direct investments. India sowing seeds in our soil, expecting harvest for both. But brothers and sisters, don't be naive. Investment isn't charity. It carries profit, leverage, sway. The question isn't if India wins. Will we ensure Burkina Faso wins bigger? Will those seeds sprout sweet fruit for us, or just for them? Wander the markets of Ouagadougou at dusk, where women in vibrant robes haggle over millet with radiant smiles. Men with broad shoulders unload onion sacks under the crimson sunset. One question lingers. Will this deal change my life? The taxi driver, gridlocked in chaos. Radio crackling news, shakes his head. Another promise, another headline. Farmers in Kaya with mud-caked feet, welders in Bobo-Dioulasso scarred by flame, students in Ouagadougou clutching books to their chests. They've heard too many deals dissolve into corruption's black hole, bureaucracy's maze. Foreign bank vaults, this time must differ. If power plants light their huts, if factories employ their children with futures, if training centers turn dreams into code and modern sickles, then this pact isn't empty words. It'll be breath, the pulse of living reality. Thousands of jobs will bloom, like wildflowers after rain. Engineers stretching under the sun, welders gripping steady pay, farmers grinning as harvesters replace hoes. But if profits slip overseas, like sand through fingers, if factories become foreign oases, where locals are mere cheap labor shadows, if tech transfer stays ink on paper, then this is another scar, a betrayal etched into Africa's soul. The true battlefield isn't in speeches or distant summits. It's in villages, where bulbs flicker like desert stars. For the first time, in classrooms where boys code at worn desks, in the hands of ordinary Burkinabé, who'll decide if this pact lives or dies, like a flame nurtured or snuffed. Do you feel the earthquake? Brothers and sisters, from Washington to Paris, Brussels to Beijing, they whisper in power corridors, what is Traore doing? How dare Burkina Faso, tiny, landlocked, underestimated, ink a pact this grand? The answer is simple. We dare because we must. China pours billions into Africa, but on their strings, unseen nooses tightening. The West holds us hostage, with debt, sanctions, conditional crumbs. They believed they alone held our future's keys. But now India steps forward, with a different hand. Trade, tech, investment. No military bases, no morale lectures, no aid disguised as chains. This pact isn't just Burkina Faso rising. It's Africa declaring to the world, we choose partners, we choose destiny, and make no mistake, it's shaken the old order. For decades, the West banked on our dependence and division. They fear other African nations will follow this trail, fear sovereignty spreading like bushfire across the plains. I say to them, yes, fear it. Because this pact isn't the end, it's dawn. And from Ouagadougou to Bamako, Niamey to Dakar, the message rings. Africa is no longer empire's playground. Africa is partner. Africa is awake, eyes wide, claws ready. Too long. Our resources weren't just stolen. They were priced in others' currencies. Oil, gas, gold. All shackled to the dollar, the euro. Systems built far from our soil. But in this pact, we carve a new path. Talks of rupee franc settlements. Imagine. Oil departing Burkina Faso. Indian tech arriving. All bypassing Western banks. Transactions beyond sanctions. Beyond dollar manipulations. This isn't mere financial ease. It's rebellion. Freedom scripted in figures. But tread warily. Like a desert wolf scenting the wind, the CFA franc still binds us to Paris. A colonial chain on our wrists. Until we sever it, forge a true sovereign coin. Even bold trials carry peril. Our economy must steel itself for the shock. Still, I'd rather stumble toward liberty than stride smoothly in irons. Every barrel, not dollar-priced, is a declaration. Africa isn't prisoner to the West's financial empire. What is sovereignty without security? A wall-less castle, a nation bared to vultures. Burkina Faso bleeds daily, from uprisings, terror, destabilization plots. Too long. We begged for arms, bought scraps at gouging prices, leaned on foreign powers, who only deepened our chains. This pact changes it all. $2 billion for defense production, Indian know-how, but built on our land, by our workers' hands. Our engineers' minds, rifles pieced together in Ouagadougou, beneath the full moon. Armored vehicles rolling from Bobo-Dioulasso, with a lion's roar. Comms systems crafted by our youth, fingers flying like on a kora. This won't erase terror. They don't vanish with factories, but it tips the scales. It tells the world, we no longer rent security. We forge it with our own hands. Of course, critics murmur, what if this drags us into India's games, with China or Pakistan? My reply is desert simple. Our loyalty isn't to blocs, but to Burkina Faso. If a partnership fortifies sovereignty, we embrace it. If it weakens, we cast it aside. For the first time in decades, the weapon in a Burkinabe soldier's grip may bear made in Burkina Faso, and that, brothers and sisters, is its own revolution. Sparkling like diamonds in the dust, every grand gamble holds two paths. One radiant, one shadowed, which we tread, depends not on fate, but discipline. Like a Sahel shepherd guarding the flock through endless night. Best case, factories hum like Africa's heartbeat. Thousands of jobs flower like lilies on the Niger. Oil revenues steady the economy. Engineers trained in Indian programs design future industries. Behemoth machines turning desert to industrial oases. Electricity floods villages. Farmers laugh as tools transform drought to bounty. Students code software, bridging Africa and Asia, making us not raw exporters, but hubs, bridges between continents, where Indian merchants and Malian traders haggle under baobab shade. Worst case, corruption slithers like venomous snakes through sand, contracts botched, funds drained, factories foreign fiefdoms, where locals linger as ghostly laborers. Profits sail away, people see scant change. Rage spreads like felt fire, protests erupt. The pact crumbles to shattered vows. Another tomb in Africa's dream graveyard. The line is thin. Brothers and sisters, too often we've tumbled into the abyss. Betrayed by leaders, peddling birthrights for personal pouches. I refuse that doom, but my refusal isn't enough. It demands every Burkinabe, vigilant as hawks, disciplined as mossy warriors, demanding transparency, to turn bright futures real. This pact isn't heaven's miracle. It's a chance, and lost chances don't return. Like desert rain, precious and fleeting. Don't think this pact is just ours. Africa watches, unblinking, from Ghana's ministries to Senegal's markets, Mali's troops to Ivory Coast's traders. They whisper, can Burkina Faso pull it off? If we succeed, we ignite a torch across the continent. Leaders will eye Ouagadougou and say, if they rose, so can we. New India-Africa bonds will bloom like weeds. Western dependency chains will slacken. A new power map drawn, not in Washington or Beijing, but in African and Asian capitals. Inked by our hands. If we fail, skeptics will howl. See, Africa can't self-govern for billions. They'll squander. Trust only the old guard. Our failure wouldn't be solitary. It'd arm strikes against every African, daring to dream freedom. That's why this pact transcends borders. It's continental. Our triumph wouldn't just lift Burkina Faso. It'd hoist Africa. Our fall wouldn't just shame us. It'd drag Africa down too. The stakes tower. Because history watches. Its eyes keen as blades, unforgiving of squandered shots. When I scrawled my name beside Narendra Modi's, I didn't ink a mere contract. I staked a wager. A generational bet. A gauntlet to history's flow. This $15 billion pact is oil. Yes, but also factories, jobs, power plants, training, defense forges. It's sovereignty's architecture, dignity's blueprint. A decree that we're no longer beggars, but partners, shoulder to shoulder. Under southern suns, 5 years on, the world will judge. Will Burkina Faso gleam with factories and lights, or stumble in mismanagement and graft? Will our youth tower like baobabs, as engineers, innovators, or trap in despair's dunes? I claim no certainty. I claim commitment. The West will sabotage, whispering lies, seeding fake news bombs. Enemies lurk. Storms will rage like sand devils. But this pact is a seed, sown in our struggle's soil, watered by national will. Brothers and sisters, history's pen is ours now. Too long. It rested in Paris, Washington, London. Cold foreign grips, no more. Burkina Faso's tale will be scripted in Ouagadougou, under shade trees and djembe drums. Africa's story will be penned by African hands. Ink from blood and sweat, paper from hope and vigilance. Cameras caught the signatures flash. But the fire is ours, and it will burn. Brothers and sisters, blazing to the horizon's edge.